Oh my gosh. I think that we're now having a Sexplanations Dr. Doe style live stream on the Doe Eyes channel. I'm going to check everything here, make sure that it's working. Yes, it is. Excellent. Can you hear
Dr. Doe
me?
style live stream on the Doe Eyes channel.
Yes, I think you can. Okay. So here it is 1 o'clock, and I just did us all a favor, got myself a walk bowl at our natural food store called the Good Food Store. All sorts of noodles and vegetables and chicken, and I ate some chocolate pudding so that I would be in the best state of mind that I possibly can be. And I see that people have been on here for a long time doing the chat, which is cool because then I can start answering your questions right away. That is my intent for this live stream, to answer your questions, to talk about what is new with me and Sexplanations, and just connect with you, because I think as a community you have been amazingly supportive of me. It's like a form of polyamory, actually, where I have my partner and like some friends who I really love, and then you are like this entity. You are like a partner to me. And there's a kind of intimacy that I get from you that I don't with anyone else. And there's a kind of understanding that you have of me that these actual people in my real life who spend quality time with me don't get. So I haven't done one of these since February, and even before then, it was really a long time since I connected in this way. So I forget that you are a partner in that way, and that for us to have the best relationship, it really needs this quality time. So here I am. Let's live stream. Maybe I'll feel better. Maybe the world will just up and heal and get better. I have some allergies, so I'm going to wipe my nose. Let's get to the questions here. Yeah, so first thing that's said is, if I move this to Google Hangouts, can I send the link? People who are pledged on the Patreon Sexplanations YouTube page at $4 or more get access to the Google chat, and I did send that out. Let's see. Thank you for helping each other with the time zones. I am in Mountain Daylight Time. I probably won't do a video about FOSTA and SESTA. I think that's how you say them, because there are so many awesome videos happening out there. And once those are finished, I'm going to bombard social media with them. I will talk about things around that, though. I made a commitment really early on with Sexplanations to not cover current events if possible, because what I've noticed about them is that people will dive into an issue and then all these things will get sorted out, or I won't have all the information. I will end up looking stupid at some point. It's been really hard, though, because I definitely have my opinions about it, and I do know that my audience is a powerful one, and so it's finding that balance between saying things around the subject that are more timeless and can pertain to things beyond that specific current event, but also having some passion and responsibility for being an activist is really important. So support your activists today in whatever way you can. I was driving back to, this is my bedroom. I was driving back to my house from the Good Food Store and thinking about how, if there's one thing I could encourage us all to do today, it's to reach out to someone who is an activist in sexuality and thank them for the work that they're doing, because it's really hard work and it feels really daunting and underappreciated. Like it's never going to get better. It's not going to make the difference that other things do. And it actually does. It's really important. And so let's be cheerleaders for the people. I want to check the comments to make sure you're all hearing me. Bradley Seegert, you do the Patreon crap. Is it crap? I hope. I don't know. Okay. Going back up. It sounds like you can all hear me. So hello from Fresno. Let's see. Any questions? Hi. Yay. The blue was originally painted for my daughter. This was her room that I am now in. Somebody, anybody have questions? What does this new Planned Parenthood defunding business mean for reproductive rights in the US? That it's going to be even more of a shit show than it already is. I can't. We hear you. Good. What do you think about the different ways of being transgender, going stealth versus being fully out? I would say that I am. We gotta turn off this phone. Stop you from vibrating or doing whatever it is that you do. I am live streaming here. Okay. I am humbled by each person's individual process and think that I have no business telling anyone how to express themselves. And I am very grateful for the people who increase visibility, because it's one of the most effective ways at creating change. So when the people around you see you for who you are, then it diminishes fear unlike anything that I could teach or model, or like just another human being who you care about being themselves is profound. And I was thinking about an example of this the other day. Oh, yeah. So I am watching New Girl. It helps me not feel so lonely. And there's a scene where Jessica Day, the main character played by Zooey Deschanel, is putting her night guard in at night and kind of normalizing the experience of either grinding your teeth or keeping your teeth straight. And I thought about how many things we do like that on a daily basis. There are like our secret ways of maintaining self-care or vanity or whatever it is. And how if I could let people know, yeah, I wear a retainer every night, or I got braces and this is how I feel about it, then that gives more people permission to get braces or not get braces or not feel ashamed about their retainer, etc. So from Zoe to Lindsay to you, there it is. Let's see, what other questions do you have for me? I don't know who Jordan Peterson is. I'm realizing that I am living in a bubble here in Missoula, Montana. Will somebody tell me who Jordan Peterson is? And please forgive me for not knowing. And so part of the way that I'm trying to address that bubble is by planning a road trip. And it's taking a lot of time and some emotional energy to figure out if it's something I am able to do. The way that it looks is do an Indiegogo campaign, hope that there is extra funding out there, because you've all been very generous, but asking above and beyond for us to be able to afford a vehicle and help driving and furnishing that, and then maybe even money that I can live off of, which would be great, because I'm basically not going to be working in a regular fashion for 3 months to a year, however long I travel. And then taking that vehicle and my dog with major separation anxiety on a trip around wherever I can access. So definitely the Bible Belt, but just going whole United States of America, if possible, Canada, Mexico, what, that would be great. And just going to libraries or parking lots, wherever I can, and giving as many people as possible the sex education that they want. So that's going on. Okay, let's see who told me about Jordan Peterson. Anybody? I don't see any explanation of Jordan Peterson. Maybe I missed it. So I'm going to do a quick search here, and hopefully this doesn't traumatize me. Can Jordan Peterson be a happy thing and not a terrible thing? Jordan Peterson is a Canadian clinical psychologist. I imagine that this is the person you're talking about because there are 3 news reports at the top of my Google page. One that says Jordan Peterson's Tired Old Myths from 9 hours ago. The left and the right aren't hearing the same Jordan Peterson 7 hours ago. And Jordan Peterson plays in the left's cultural sandbox. I'm at least not feeling so bad that I don't know who this person is. Let's see. So people aren't being very nice to him, it sounds like. This says, rarely in my life have I read a more hostile or vicious takedown of a public figure than last week's New York Times profile of Canadian author and psychologist Jordan Peterson. I don't know. There's a thing here that's a video of Donald Trump. Not how we're going to spend our live stream. So if somebody wants to inform me later, I'm happy to learn more. And I apologize for not knowing or having a stance. That's life, though. I have a stance on so few things. All right. What are your thoughts? Okay. Did you decide where you are going to move to? This question is referring to a post that I did on Patreon, the Sexplanations YouTube page, where I started the realization that you guys are like a partner to me and I want you to know what's going on. And part of that message disclosed that I'm ready to leave Missoula and I'm aiming for November to do that. And I would like to move someplace else, but I have this really great partner, and part of the negotiation process is finding that place and not just throwing a dart at a map. So that's where the road trip comes in and I get to fulfill multiple dreams at once. I have not decided that, but I did this really cool thing where I found a map online that shows political values based on by counties. And I'm really inspired by blue cities in red states. It's intriguing to me, at least. And so I found this patch in, I think it's in Alabama, that's kind of a vertical strip of blue surrounded by red that's alluring. But I don't know that I want someplace that's hotter. I just want someplace that's sunnier. So, and most places are sunnier. We're in a valley, so we only get I think 100 and something days of sunshine a year. And so that shouldn't be too hard to beat. What motivated the desire to change your name? Oh, I don't identify with Lindsay very well. Someone I really care about says my name, Lindsay, when they're not feeling well and they want to hurt me. And so, yeah, I feel pretty detached from my name. And so I instead of disclosing like the hardship around it, I posted on Twitter that I was just curious what people would name me if I wasn't Lindsay. And that was really interesting because very few of you came up with names, but I appreciated your thinking around it. And if you're curious, you can go to Twitter and see how people responded. And then I took it a step further and shared what was going through my mind in terms of options. And all of you are really great there. But every single one of those options has like a kind of problem to it. And so I don't know where to go except to maybe heal the relationship to my name. Do you ever get easy questions? I think I get easy questions all the time. I just challenge my ability to answer them easily by putting more into them, because I'm an educator and I think that that's a great way to teach. Yeah, but I get asked easy questions all the time. And at speaking engagements in particular, universities and conferences, people will ask me super easy things, and then I'll go into this huge spiel and I'll bring up this video and I'll talk about this experience because I can. It's just a segue to get to more knowledge. And oftentimes in the field of sexuality, people don't have the language to ask questions, or they don't even know what they don't know. And so if I can use a little question to educate, then I can give them that language and more questions come in that are harder. Is there an organization or program that you can recommend that could help inform on implementing and engaging an inclusive sex ed curriculum at school? Been talking to administrators, but not helpful. Yes, there are tons of sex ed curricula out there. People are making them. They're inclusive. I haven't done a lot of current research. This is something I really focused on in my undergrad, but that was 17 years ago. So I am not the person to have that knowledge on hand, but maybe people in the comments will write down their answers. And what I would actually like to do is create one that comes from me, built with my colleagues, and then teach it. So dream idea, which I talk about in a podcast that hasn't been published yet, but you'll hear, is to have a school where we teach sexologists, sex educators, sex therapists, etc. And then we're just creating a much larger ripple effect. So it's not just here is the tool, but hey, teachers, here's the tool to share with other teachers, and so on and so on. You know how the ripple effect works. What is something you learned from a teacher, professor, at elementary school, like that you find yourself utilizing today? Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed, Chapter 2, I learned in grad school. It changed my life. I love it so much. I learned that from Professor Jean Burns, I think. It could have been Merle Ferrier, but I think it was Jean Burns. Okay, let me see what else I can answer there. Another teacher. My dad was a huge teacher for me, as a parent and then as an actual art teacher. And he taught me that the primary colors are not red, yellow, and blue, but they are magenta, cyan, and yellow. Anyway, moving on. Jordan Peterson. There he's back again. I don't know. Okay, so for that, though, the recommendation is to check in with ContraPoints, which is a really brilliant YouTube channel, 3 Arrows and Current Affairs. My dog, did you see my dog? Can you see my dog? I'm on the YouTube screen right now, so I can't see what is being projected to you. Do you want to see her? Lena. She looks so long there, but she's not actually that long. And maybe you've seen pictures of her online and in a video. She's in a video where I talk about gifts to get people. And people got mad that I suggested dogs. But use your good judgment. Don't get people dogs if they can't actually handle dogs. Or they don't want dogs. Sculptor Frederick Auguste Bartholdi based the face of the Statue of Liberty on whom? I don't know. But I am working on a trivia project, and that's fun that somebody has a cool trivia question. Do you plan to do Sexplanations forever, or will you eventually translate over to things like your podcast? Translate over? Whew. Okay, let's talk future of Sexplanations and what things go through my mind. I would like for people from other countries who speak fluent English and then their language to take my scripts, all the content, etc., how I teach, the demonstrations, whatever they want, really. And it's kind of works like syndication, where we sell that to them and then they create Sexplanations in Portuguese, for example. That is a dream, to just have it everywhere, or to, just to get the content out there that's already made, it's already done, to more people. So accessibility is huge for me. If I can make it to 40, which is 4 years from now, I will think that that's a pretty big accomplishment. I think that Sexplanations, a book, increases accessibility, but I'm having a really hard time committing to writing a book. There's a 30-page proposal that I've written. It's been approved. There are people that want to publish it. I just don't want to write it. I love writing YouTube videos, the 4-minute model, let me teach you something, here's what it is. And it can change, right? The capricious nature of YouTube, that people understand this is what she put at this point in time, May 21st. This live stream is what Lindsay thought, but in 5 days she could have a different opinion. And the book feels so much more permanent to me, and it's scary. I don't want to say anything that's going to do harm. And then 10 years later, someone picks up the book and goes, what was this woman thinking? So that's a thing. What else would I love? Oh, right. The school. I would love to have a school where we're teaching, and merch, better website, all this. But if there is still a need in 4 years, which unfortunately I think there will be, that the schools will not figure it out, the government will not have figured it out, we will still have problems with the lack and horrific nature of sex education, then I would love to find new hosts that can bring fresh energy into it and keep it going. Hank has a really great model for this on both SciShow and Crash Course, where he really built those teaching platforms around his personality, but then was able to bring in other teachers to do versions of it or keep it going and replace him. And I think that that's important, because as much as I love how much you like me, I want the value to be in what I am saying and not who I am. Okay, we're getting deep here. No. You recently did a Sexplanations about people's sexuality scale, hetero, ho-ho, and you listed a number of theories. You didn't list how strongly supported each theory was. Yeah, that's because I don't know. And I don't know if I put this in the description or in a Tumblr blog, but the intention behind looking into those theories was to show how, if somebody was educated at a point in time where that theory was the most prominent, it makes me have more compassion for them if they have that belief still, because unless they're encouraged to stay curious, that's what they were taught. And so that's what they believe. And then even though it's not correct, I understand, like, oh, okay, you grew up in an education system that believed there are 9 planets. So the fact that you still believe that Pluto is a planet doesn't mean that you're dumb or hateful or inconsiderate or anything like that. It just means that you weren't given an opportunity or didn't take an opportunity to continue learning. And so now that I have more compassion for you, I'm less afraid of you and more likely to approach you and teach you that Pluto is no longer a planet. Because with people who believe certain theories around sexual orientation or around sexuality at large, I get afraid of them, and then I just back the fuck off. And I need to be able to find that empathy toward their human experience so that I go closer and offer them a place to ask their questions safely without judgment. I'm trying to be a better person. Do any of those theories resonate with you, as in me, on my sexual orientation? Yes, of course. I would say in the process, the two that I found most fascinating were the kin selection one about how sexual orientations outside of heterosexuality, and then the hetero component of bisexuality being an environmental solution, a birth control plan, is so fascinating to me. And it really fills my heart and mind with these ideas of like, how could we possibly have animosity toward people who aren't heterosexual when they could be nature's way of protecting the planet? Ooh, what is happening? There's sound coming. Ooh, Kim, there. Yeah, we go. Yeah. That's on the Google Hangout. So now sound is back. I'm going to come back over here to the theories conversation. I don't know if that offends people, but I hope it doesn't. My intention is not to offend people. My intention is to say this is pretty cool, and you can choose to have children, and you can figure out ways for that to be possible. You can adopt, you can do in vitro, you can surrogacy, whatever. But instead of thinking that homosexuality is some sort of birth defect or deformity or these things that we tend to pathologize, what a mind switch to realize that that is actually a safety built in for humanity. Oh my gosh, I wish I could see all of your faces to know what you think about me in this moment. And then the other one was Lisa Diamond's, where she talks about the fluidity of women in particular. I don't think that it has to be applied to just women, but I do think that the concept of fluidity is under-researched, and we don't have permission for it, because a lot of the models and theories around sexual orientation have been so focused on homosexual males that we don't really understand how people move through sexual orientation over time. I'll just let Sexplanations do the talking for me, because she covers that. Okay, next one. At the beginning of the 1990s, which country had the most camels? I don't know. Are there any organizations trying to create spaces to talk to young men about their feelings and relationships to decrease aggression toward women and girls? Yes, but I don't know which in your area. I think here we have capital M, empowerment groups. I don't know if that's their only mission or even if that is, but it's more to focus on healthy masculinity. Sorry if more questions came in, so the scrolling has changed. Oh, okay. Please come to Wisconsin. Oh my gosh, there's so many comments. I'm so far behind. We're going to go fast now. How are we doing on time? Yeah, we have 29 minutes. Road trip sounds amazing. Great. What's your favorite acronym for orientation and gender? It's not an acronym, but the name that I like the most is ANDS, ANDS, because I think it's inclusive and it's a word that we use all the time, which I love, and it's not associated with anything. It's also not, doesn't have to be, it's just like ANDS. Yes. Is this an ANDS friendly place? Are you part of ANDS? I also like Q community. I think that one's really cute. I would love to come to Huntsville, Alabama. I think the way that it will work is we'll have a map on the Indiegogo page, and then somehow we're going to figure, if any of you can help me with this, that would be great. But you'll be able to buy ballots, and each ballot will, let's say it's like $1. And each ballot will get you 2 votes, one for where you are, and if that's where you want me to go, and then one for a sibling community that you believe could really benefit from Sexplanations being there, but probably doesn't have a lot of people online voting for it. So that's my goal. And then we would determine where the road trip goes in 2 ways. One, by which places get the most votes. And then the other is by random drawing, so that you're basically using it as a raffle system. So even if you buy $1 pass, you still have a chance, an equal chance to the, not an equal chance, but a really good chance to everyone else for your place. Oh, this is making sense. I spend a lot of time thinking about these things. Come to Montreal, that would be lovely. Take the number 30, divide it by 1/2, and then add 10. What do you get? So 25? If I did my math incorrectly there, shame on me. With 300,000 followers on Sexplanations, you might think about booking a booking agent. I think we have more than 300,000. I think we almost have 500,000. And I have thought about a booking agent. I've been given lots of feedback from people who have been on tours, and they suggest charging $45 a ticket at big venues and having someone organize it, or organize it myself through ticket agents. That is a different thing than what I want to do. I think that that's wise, and maybe I will end up doing it. That feels more like Lindsay wrote a book and is now going on tour in a professional way. This is more Lindsay the philanthropist needs to do some grassroots sex education and go love the people, because she feels both overwhelmed with gratitude and sorrow. Okay, I'd suggest trying to speak at colleges. I do that anyway. On the booking agent side, get a hold of this stranger here in Seattle and ask Dan Savage who he uses. Yes, there are lots of people I can reach out to for that. I have been to Wisconsin. I'm happy to go there again, although not in the winter probably. Would you consider doing paid shows? Yes. Okay. Yes, talked about that. How about a blue city in a red county? Interesting. The map that I looked at doesn't show a blue city in a red county, but that makes a lot of sense. And yes, I would be totally for that. Austin, Texas is a very blue city in a red state. I'm looking for a population that is smaller than 50,000, closer to 2030. Omaha, Nebraska probably isn't that. Atlanta, definitely not that. And I don't like Coke. San Francisco, huge but lovely. Do you think that there is a field of research where environmentalism and sexuality connect? And if so, do you know of any? Yes, it's called sexology. In looking at my colleagues and historical figures in sexology, there is a trend of environmentalism for sure. But we could create our own. What is his name? Solari? Something Solari? Paulo Solari? No. Anyway, an architect took ecology and architecture and put the two together. I can't remember what the neologism is, but that idea of combining disciplines. And so it could be like sexo-environmentalism or eco-sex. I think that the sexologist Annie Sprinkle is big into this. Maybe even has a performance art piece about it. Yeah. Okay. What's my favorite? Did that part. Jordan Peterson is the hero of the NoFap group, also known as incels. NoFap, I thought, was a not like anti-masturbation group, and incels are an involuntary celibates group. Anyway, his message is a little kinder than stop touching yourself, but it's a lot of messaging on how straight males don't get enough specific positive messages. I mean, okay, I'll go into it. I do know that at a certain Patreon level, you can vote for topics. And the last time I checked, the highest vote went to involuntary celibacy. And so regardless of whether or not I cover current events, I will be talking about that unless I can reason out with you that I should not, because it invites people. Can you mute your stuff, new visitor to the Google chat? Thank you. Or I can mute on my end. So I may have to talk about it, but I have read that incels by this identity name are not very happy with women. And bringing that energy into Sexplanations isn't really what I'm looking for, but I think about it and I believe that there's probably a way to do it. Do you have any interesting sex facts that are about non-human animals? Yes. Not off the top of my head. I just did research about the insect that has the largest testicles body ratio to its body size. And I want to say when I did the mathematical conversion that a 200-pound human male would have, I think, 15 to 20-pound testicles. Don't quote me on any of this. Stay curious and look it up. Moving on. Although, can you imagine having testicles that heavy? I live in Ireland, where abortion is completely outlawed in 99% of circumstances. We're currently about to have a referendum to change that. Do you have any advice with dealing with... I can't see the second part because I think it's too low, but when I get to it, I'll answer the rest of your questions. Emotional exhaustion that comes from dealing with anti-choice activists every day as a victim of rape. We have a program here in Missoula that I think worked really well, which was called Pledge a Picketer. And so someone like me, I think of myself as a philanthropist, could say, okay, I'm going to give $10 for every picketer that comes out on Tuesday afternoons. And so let's say 11 picketers came out, I would give all of that money. And then the picketers finally learned that the abortion clinic was getting more funding for every single one of them that stood out there. They eventually stopped standing out there. So no non-consensual dogging. Ha ha ha. Any organizations? Oh, I look like an Ellen. I like that because then it's L. Are there any organizations that are trying to create spaces to talk to young men about? We did that one. And I'm happy to find more resources for you there. I don't mean to just shuffle that off. And if other people have ideas, please put them in the chat too. Don't know about specific organizations? See, people are on it. Ghostwriters, I would love a ghostwriter. Is it just me or camera is a little unfocused? Probably because my house is weird and doesn't have great internet, and I'm using a Chromebook Plus. I used to use a MacBook, but they switched to butterfly keyboard, which instead of going like this on the keys and tapping them in the middle, you have the keys on a system that's lit like this, I think, or maybe it's vice versa. And it really, really hurt my hands to use it. So I had to get rid of that and switch to a different one that I could pack for my speaking engagements. It's really tiny, but doesn't have the butterfly keys. Google Translate should cover subtitles and open up your videos to other languages. Yes, check. We're already doing that. I have a book on genomics that I've already written. It's about all the cool things that no one knows that haven't been recently discovered, and it's written in lay terms. Awesome. Sesta and Fosta have already talked about. If you want, after this live stream is over, you can go to the beginning of it. Thanks for giving Sally good luck and lots of love. Why not make Sexplanations education kits for schools or young people? I will do that. I think I just committed to something really big, but good. Just give me gentle reminders over time. Maybe I'll live a long time. I think yes, we'll win is what people are talking about. Appreciate the window into your life of work. Cheer you up after days' disappointment. I saw a video of the Belgian education minister waving a realistic model of a clitoris during a discussion of renewing the national sex ed policy. That does cheer me up. Okay. Whoa, it just moved again, but I'm going to go back up. Where are you? Oh my goodness. All of you are so amazing. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. If I am missing one of your questions because the chat is moving, I apologize. But I'm going to do live streams again. An interesting parallel to the infanticide theory, Stephen. Okay, but I hope you all have a great conversation about it. Has feminism been made out to be too derogatory to promote equality amongst gender? Heavy question. So smart. My audience is so smart. Come to Australia. Okay. Mountains are beautiful and lots of outdoorsy people. Check. Seems like more and more YouTubers are going on tour. Yeah, I think so. And I don't know what the correlation is. I know for me, it's not just about numbers, right? So I can reach so many more people by making Sexplanations videos, but the dialogue isn't there. The quality of it isn't there. And in Missoula, where I've created this really sex positive community, I'm so sheltered about the shit that's really going on. So when I go to some place like Tennessee and I hear how people are treated, it boggles my mind, and I need to go to those places and to get muddy and dirty and like feel what you're all feeling and have that motivate me to keep doing what I'm doing. I don't want to do it because you pay me and I feel good about myself. I want to do it because I feel like it's important and it's needed and I am being a good citizen. Do you require the assistance of an experienced tour manager? Sure. Thanks, Will S. Message me. Are you still considering making a video about your thoughts on circumcision? So I think it was the last live stream I did. I said that I had written a rant about circumcision and I wasn't sure whether or not to turn it into a video. And a really nice audience member wrote and expressed a point of view that was helpful to me. And so I don't think that doing a rant about circumcision in the way that I had is the way to go. But there will be a balance, and it's definitely not a topic that I am done addressing by any means. Okay, New Hampshire, biggest city is 100,000 and most towns range. Yes, but I want to be in the South, I think. I don't know. Take me to where it's fucked up and I can make a difference. Awesome that you commented on my booking agent suggestion. Lots of friends on the live stream. Have you read the book, Dr. D? I haven't read it all the way through, but it was one of the first sex books that was given to me, and it was given to me by my anthropology professor who wrote on the inside, I look forward to when you have a book. And recently this year, I wrote a letter on the inside cover of my monster baiting master's coloring book and put it in his inbox. That's like the show Most Extreme. It had some really weird visuals showing animal proportions on humans. Ooh, fun. Okay, the screen just jumped again, but we're okay. I will unsub. Just another old life legacy. I don't know what that means. Will certain Patreon levels get a certain sum of raffle tickets? Ooh, great idea. Did you ever find someone to build your website for you? Doe. Eden Doe would be a cool name. Yes, it would. And a strange religious connotation. Do you think open relationships increase or decrease quality, stability, and length of primary relationships? They can. I'm not pretending I'm perfect, but I do know sin leads to death. Okay. I don't know where to go from there. Have you ever spoken in detail about demisexuality? No, but I try to bring it up whenever possible. And if you like it, the podcast is a place where I do that. Just so you know, it jumped again. I routinely post the link to Sexplanations every time someone on Facebook posts an article about sex, and I tell them to share it with everyone. Mwah! Thank you very much, John. When are you planning on doing another live stream? I looked in my calendar and I could do one on Friday if that works, because I thought that might come up and it would be nice to let you all have ample notice. Come to the South, you do need help. Take a look at Columbia, South Carolina. Okay. Then head west to Texas. Sexplanations is nothing short of fabulous, outstanding, magnificent. Thank you. What you do raises the conversation in a most non-threatening way. Some of those topics are very uncomfortable. Yes, can we just like really quickly talk about how YouTube made wet dreams age restricted? Like, yes, I know I push the envelope on a lot of things and try to appeal to slightly older audiences who want a little bit of the, erotic aspect of sex. But there is also an anatomical, physiological part of sex that's for elementary school kids. And I made that video for them. I made that video specifically for them. And it's the one that got age restricted, and I just don't get it. Boo. This is why all of you who help on Patreon are so important, because we don't make money on YouTube. Our content is demonetized. It is marked as, unsuitable for most advertisers. And then it's age restricted. If any of those things happen, we're not making money. And when we do, and I have a Sexplanations video that's coming out for our anniversary, which is the 2nd week of June. When we do make ad revenue, it is something like 1/1000th of a penny per view, or 1/10,000th of a penny per view for our toy vaginas video. So that means that for every time you play the toy vaginas video, you would have to watch, I think my math could be off about this, but I double checked it and I tried really hard to use my skills. You would have to watch an ad 10,000 times for each one video for us to make 1 penny. Don't watch ads. Please get YouTube Red. That is where, if any part of the YouTube platform helps us financially, it is YouTube Red. You could have 10 people using YouTube Red make us 1,000 times more than the people who don't have YouTube Red and ad revenues, or 100,000 times more. YouTube Red is really the only source of income for us on that platform. And then Patreon is really the most important because it's somewhat stable, right? Like you're putting in every month or every episode, depending on whether or not you're doing the podcast or the YouTube channel or both. And it's a community effort. So goodness gracious, you're all amazing. And I really, really appreciate you. And I'm certainly mad that accessibility isn't there, because that is something we can't control, right? As Patreon Sexplanats, you can't make wet dreams accessible, but you can make it possible so that we make the content and continue pushing back with the force of our community to say, like, open this shit up, give it back. The 11-year-olds need to know about this so that when they're 12 and they splooge for the first time in their beds, they aren't traumatized by what's coming out of their body. They don't believe, like so many people, that they're dying or that they're sick or that they should be ashamed and throw away their sheets or their underwear. Okay, more tissues. All right. What do I think about polyamory? I think it's a brilliant solution to a lot of the troubles that my clients have. But as a culture, we're going to have to create a space for acceptance around it so that more people feel comfortable pursuing it and don't lose their minds to jealousy and social pressure. But it's, gosh, I fantasize about the day when the word cheating just doesn't exist. We don't even have to say, nobody uses it, because the concept of cheating, you would never do that, because it's okay to communicate openly with your partner about wanting more than one relationship, or to move through that relationship to a different relationship and have monogamy. Gosh, it's going to be so great. There will be a time when cheating is no longer a word. Just like we don't use the word dowry anymore, at least not in day-to-day language. Okay, let's get through a few more of these. We have 5 more minutes. So I'm going to scroll down here. Again, I missed anything, my apologies. Please come back. We'll do this again and you can ask me then. Can you add a sponsor button to your videos? Hannah Witten is doing a beta test of it, and so it's not available to everyone, but I would love to eventually do that. Any value for you within the YouTubers Union? Not as of right now. Why would that be a good thing for me to be part? I don't know if you're referring to the Internet Creators Guild, but I do think that they're awesome. Could you talk about pubic hair grooming for those who are interested? I did a whole video on it, and I think it's called Pubic Hair and Friends. And if I am seeing things correctly, oh no, I thought I made it to the end, but if I go up here, there are a few more questions. Do live streams bring in revenue through YouTube Red? Probably. if you are on YouTube Red, but I don't know. Oh, it's no longer called YouTube Red. It's YouTube Premium now. Interesting. Very helpful. Indiana sex positivity is lacking for sure. Okay, I would love to come there. I would love to do that whole area, go to the Kinsey Institute, hang out with the Indianapolis team. Oh, all of you are saying so many lovely, lovely, lovely things. Okay. Murray Monster offered to make a website for us. Okay, great. This was a successful live stream. I hope you feel that way. I feel that way. Yeah. Okay. Anything else I can do for you before I go here in the next 3 minutes? Set up the next one for Friday. Let's look. Okay, Friday the 25th. I have a Sexplanations video shoot that morning with Maya from like 9:30 to 11:30, but all afternoon I am free. So I'll post in Patreon and see if that works for anyone. I know that we're all in different time zones, but I would love to be available to you and show you how grateful I am for your efforts here, for trusting me, for letting me know when I do things incorrectly and helping me be better and helping our whole friggin' planet be better. Okay. I'm going to go to the Google chat now and stop broadcast. To those of you who were here on the Google chat, I see you now. I'll pay more attention to you next time. Thank you again for everything.